Right, I'm going to solve this quadratic equation not by factorizing. That's quite a difficult factorization because there's a number in front of the x squared. I'm going to use what's called the quadratic formula. It goes like this. Now it looks complicated, but when you've seen this many times, you just get used to it. When you see it the first time, it looks quite daunting, but when you've seen it a couple of times, you just get used to it. Now I prefer, well, that's how it's given on formula sheets, but I prefer to put brackets around all the letters. They're like containers for numbers. Those brackets are like containers. Now going back to the quadratic equation, the first number in front of the x squared, that's represented by a. That minus 10 is represented by b. That positive 3 represented by c. So what does that mean? A is equal to, just a reminder, a is equal to 2. B is equal to minus 10. It's not a positive 10, it's minus 10. And C, definitely positive 3. All you're going to do now is substitute these numbers into these letters in order to solve this quadratic equation. Here we go. Let's do this then. There's a minus there, bracket. What does B equal to? B is equal to, look at that, minus 10. Put the minus 10 in there. Plus and minus. B is what? B is minus 10. Squared minus 4. Replace the A with 2. Replace the C with 3. All over 2 multiplied by, replace the A with 2. Right, let's simplify this a little bit. Minus and minus, 2 negatives make a positive, so that'll be just 10. Minus 10 squared, well, minus 10 squared means minus 10 times minus 10, negative 10 times negative 10. 2 negatives make a positive, so that'll be 100. Right, there's a minus there, take away. 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 2 is 4. Right, let's take this further. 100 take 24 is what? It's going to be 76. All over 4. Let's take this even further. Let's split this up into two fractions. 10 over 4 plus and minus root 76 over 4. So split that into this and this bit over here into two separate fractions. Now I can leave my answer like that if I wanted to, that's good enough. Or I can leave my answer like this. Right, but if you've got a calculator, you can actually work that out. Ten divided by 4 plus the that's 2.5. Plus and minus. Now probably plus and minus is confusing a little bit at the moment. It's going to give us two different numbers. Right, root 76 over 4. That's 2.179. Right, there are two answers there now. So the first one is 2.5 add 2.179. 4.679, and the other one is 2.5 minus so those are the two values of x's. Right, earlier on in the previous video I said when you factorize quadratics you can get two values of x's. By using the quadratic formula I've managed to get two values of x's. So if you were to substitute these two values, any one of those two values, into this equation, this side will equal to 0. So if you substitute, for example, substitute 4.679 into here, that would give you 0. If you were to substitute 0.321 into x, you'd get 0. Now if I wanted to, I could get the answer straight from this if I've got a scientific calculator. I can get my two values of x's. This is a fraction, press the fraction button there. Now I'm going to copy exactly what I've got here on the calculator. Minus, open bracket, minus 10, close bracket. Right, I've got to choose now, any one of those. I'll start off with plus, and then later I'll choose minus. It needs to be exactly the way it is, otherwise you can get a maths error on the calculator. Right, bring the cursor down. I want to go down here to the denominator. There, the cursor down here. Press the equal button. Right, I've got insert form. Press the SD button. There you go. Hopefully you can see that 4.67, which was one of my answers. 4.67. To get the other value of x, take the cursor back. I'm going to, instead of choosing plus this time, I'm going to choose a minus. Right, you can see which one I'm going to delete now. I'm going to delete the plus right there. Press the SD button. 0.32, which was one of my other values. But all I did over here was show the working out. Now the benefit of having brackets is that it looks after, it takes care of negatives. So here it's taking care of the negatives. I want to show you something now, watch. I know minus 10 squared is 100 because minus 10, negative 10 times negative 10, you know two negatives make a positive, right? That is a fact. But watch what happens when I do this on the calculator. Minus 10, negative 10 squared, I get negative 100. So really, what it should do is surround that negative 10 with a container, that container being a bracket. Now you get 100, see? So these brackets will look after negative numbers. So if for example, C, if this 3 happened to be a negative 3, the bracket would look after it. Right, here's another quadratic equation that I'm going to solve using the quadratic formula. I don't want to factorize this to find the two values of x's. I'm going to use a quadratic formula. Here it is. Right, if you've seen this many times, you'll have memorized it. Before the exam, you will know it. I prefer to put brackets around the letters. They're like safe containers for numbers, especially negative numbers. A is equal to 5. B is equal to, careful now, it's not 9, it's negative 9. C is not 1, is it? It's negative 1. Now put those numbers into the formula. B is what? It's negative 9. B is negative 9 squared minus A is 5, just positive 5, and C is right there, it's negative 1. All over A is what? 5. Well, 2 times 5 you just know is 10. Right, let's take this further. 2 negatives make a positive there, so that would be just positive 9 plus and minus. Negative 9 squared, negative 9 times negative 9, it's just 81. Got minus there. Right, you got minus, that there. Now I'm going to deal with this bit, watch. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times negative 1. 20 times negative 1, negative wins, it's negative 20. So all of that there that I'm circling is negative 20. There you go. That there is actually this one here. And all of this here, in fact, I can do it in a different color. All of that there, 4 times 5 is 20, 20 times negative 1 is negative 20, is that bit there. So you can see where it's coming from. Let's carry on with this. The denominator, that was 2 times 5 is 10. No negatives there. Right, those two negatives together looks a bit weird. So 2 negatives there will make a positive. That'll be 81 plus 20. That'll be 101 over 10. Now you can leave your answer like this if you want to. We can take this further. Split up into 2 fractions. That's 9 over 10 plus and minus root 101 over 10. Right, you can leave that as an answer. Right? If you haven't got a calculator, there's your answer. But if you've got a calculator, you can just put all that into the calculator using the fraction button like I've shown you just a while ago. You can just work this one out. There's less numbers here. That's fraction. Choose the plus first. Press the SD button. Right, one of the answers, x, is equal to 1.905. I just write it to 3 decimal places because I felt like it. The other one, take the cursor back, replace that plus to a minus. Negative 0.105, ranked to 3 decimal places. Those are my 2 answers. Right, I've solved this quadratic equation. These are my 2 answers. If I was to substitute those numbers into x, I should get 0. Now, just in case you're asked to solve this, at the moment, you can't use a quadratic formula on this one. It needs to have a 0 on one side. It needs to be a quadratic with a 0 on one side of the equal symbol. So what you can do, just prepare it, just subtract the 1 from this side to get 0 over here. Whatever you do on this side, do it on the other side. That'll be 5x squared minus 9x, take away 1, is equal to 0. There you go. Then that's solvable using the quadratic formula. In fact, that's exactly what I had over here. Look, that's what I solved. 5x squared minus 9x minus 1, right there. 5x squared minus 9x minus 1 equals 0. For this you can use a quadratic formula, right there. I can show you how to work this out if you haven't got a scientific calculator. Right here, I've got Windows calculator, the one that comes with Windows. Or you can find any calculator on any browser. You just go to the internet, Google scientific calculator, you'll find it. But I'm using the one from Windows. 9 divided by 10, it's 0.9. But if you don't know that, here you go, watch. 9 divided by 10 equals 0.9. So that bit there is 0.9. Got the plus and minus. Square root of 101. On this one, you have to type in 101 first, and then press the square root button, which is this over here. I'm highlighting 10.04, and then over here, divided by 10. Divided by 10. Press the equal button. I get 1.00 rounded 5. So now all I'm going to do is 0.9 add 1.005 to get one of the answers. 0.9 add 1.005 is, as you can see, that's 1.905. Here, that's the one, look, 1.905 is what I got on the calculator. And for the other one, do that all over again, got 0.9, but this time I'm going to use takeaway, this takeaway there, takeaway 1.005, press the equal button. I've got my, as you can see here, that's the other answer, minus 0.105. That's what tells you on the calculator. So if you haven't got a scientific calculator to do this, if you haven't got the fraction button, you're gonna have to do all this working out. Use the quadratic formula, substitute the numbers into the quadratic formula, work through it step by step like I've shown you in the video. If you can't remember, rewind the video, have another look. When you get to this bit, you can use a Windows calculator, a basic calculator.